Welcome to this lesson. Here we're going to be looking at the interior angle sums of triangles and quadrilaterals. So here we have a triangle, and we'll look at this in class in more detail. But in summary, a triangle has an interior angle sum of 180 degrees. That means that if we had A, B, and C as angles, and we added them all up, we're going to end up with 180 degrees. This will be whatever type of triangle you have. You could have an obtuse angled triangle like this, you could have a right angled triangle, or you could have an equilateral triangle. Your triangles will always have an angle sum of 180 degrees. And we'll look at why that happens in class. Now, a quadrilateral, like a triangle, always has a certain number of interior angle sum, and it's at 360 degrees. We can look at that because if we know that the triangle interior angle sum is 180 degrees, we can cut any quadrilateral, that's what this line is doing here, we can cut any quadrilateral into two triangles. So we have this angle plus this one are going to be 180 degrees. And we know this one plus this one plus this one are 180 degrees. So if we then add all of these angles up, we're going to get 180 degrees plus 180 degrees, which is giving us 360 degrees. So we know that the interior angle sum of any quadrilateral is going to be 360 degrees. Now, the interior angle sum is a useful piece of information for us to find the size of missing angles. So here we have a stereotypical question. We've been given two angles, and we need to find the size of the missing one. So to do this, we need to work out what was the interior angle sum of a triangle. We know that the interior angle sum is 180 degrees. So we would go 180 degrees minus, and then we just subtract the other angles. So minus 100 degrees minus the other one, which is 50. So we end up 30 degrees. So without measuring this angle here, we know that it's going to be 30 degrees. All right, now it's your turn. Can you find the size of this missing angle here? So we use the interior angle sum, 180 degrees, and we subtract the size of the other two angles. So minus 45 and minus 40. So we're going to end up with an angle sum of 95 degrees. So this here is 95 degrees. And we can look at it and see this here is just a bit bigger than a right angled triangle or right angle. So it would make sense that it could be 95. Okay, now we're going to do a similar question, this time with quadrilateral. But this one's a bit of a trickier question. So we remember that the interior angle sum so if we add all of the angles up, we're going to get 360 degrees. Now in this triangle, we've only been given the size of one angle. But because we've also been told a bit more information, that's all we need. So we know that this angle matches with this one. So we could write 75 in there and know that that's true. Now all we have to do is find what two angles are, which is a bit more reasonable. And you'll notice that both of these angles are the same size because they have this dot and the angle sign, which means that they're the same size as well. So what we're going to do is find the size of these two that's left over once we've taken the two angles that we do know away. So if we start off with 360, we minus 75, and we minus 75, we get 360 minus 150, which gives us 210 degrees. So now we know that the size of these two angles here together is 210. And because they're the same, all we have to do is divide that by 2. So 210 divided by 2 gives us 105 degrees. So that means that this angle here is 100 105 degrees, and this angle here is 105 degrees as well. So we could check this to make sure at least that all of our angles add up to the same number. And we do that by just adding them. Sorry, to make sure they all add up to 360, which is the interior angle sum of a quadrilateral. So we end up with this, and then we can add them up, and we should get 360. And then we could say it's correct. See if you can find out what the size of the yellow angle is. So remember, we can work out the size of this angle here because we know the matching angle size. If we go 360 minus 95 minus 95, this equals, and this might be a bit hard to do in your head, so to make this a bit easier, you could turn this into 360 minus, round this up to 100, and this one up to 100. We just have to remember that we've added, or we've taken away an extra 5 here and an extra 5 here. So we need to add 5 plus 5, which is 10. Because it's a lot easier to take away 100 than 95. So now we can go 160 plus 10 is 170 degrees. You don't have to do this part. That's just a step that might make it easier for you in future calculations. So we know that 170 degrees is the sum if we take this angle and add it to this angle. So because the two angles are the same, we have the two lines here, which means they're the same. We just need to divide 170 by 2, and we get our angle. So we're going to get 85 degrees. Now we could check this by going 95 plus 95 plus 85 plus 85, and then making sure that this adds up to 360. So that's 10, 19, 28, 360. So we know it equals up to 360. We can say that our answer is most likely correct. Here we have another question where the interior angle sum of a triangle is useful. So this is known as the exterior angle of a triangle. It's what would happen if we took one side of a triangle and extended it and then found the angle between the triangle and that line. Now, because the interior angle sum of a triangle is 180 degrees, so all of it equals 180 degrees, and because a straight line angle is 180 degrees, this side here, this angle here, is going to be the sum of these two angles. So we can find this angle here by adding up the two other angles. So you get 20 plus 40, and we're going to get 60 degrees. So you can write in here 60 degrees. So now it's your turn. Can you find the size of the missing angle? Okay, so all we have to do is add up the two angles. 18 degrees plus 35 degrees, which is going to give us 53 degrees. So this is a summary of what we've covered. Hopefully that all made sense, but if you have any questions, please bring them to me in class. Thank you.